Hi, it's Lee Booth and Adam Matthews from Society Matters. We're really delighted to be here with our bite-size benefit briefing today to talk about the energy crisis that we are hearing all about on TV and in the rest of the media. So, Adam, we keep hearing about soaring gas prices and even more worrying so energy suppliers going bust. What does that mean for householders and families if their energy supplier goes bust? And what help and support is there for them, Adam?
Thanks. Yes, so over 10 energy providers with over 1.8 million households on the books have actually joined the casualty list this month. Alone as the UK gas costs for delivery next month have really reached unprecedented levels, so up by over 520% on the same time last year. So Igloo Energy, Symbio Energy, Stronger have come some of the companies that have succumbed to the gathering crisis, and Ofgem has had to kind of prepare for some of the larger companies to also have issues or be at risk. There are talk of bailouts from the government in the news this morning. So Citizens Advice said that the customers of failed household gas and electricity providers face losing up to £37.40 a week, as a rise in the industry price cap coincides with the withdrawal of coronavirus crisis aid. So, for example, the £20 uplift of universal credit, as we know. So what should you do when your energy supply goes bust? The most important thing to know is that your energy supply in the home is not going to be cut off. The gas and electricity regulator Ofgem will move you on to a new supplier, and this usually takes a few weeks, and there shouldn't be any disruption to supply whilst that happens. It's really important to wait for your new supplier to contact you before switching. So if you do switch your tariff or your supplier before your account's been moved to the new supplier, you might find it harder to get any money that you're owed if you are in credit, if you switch before that happens. So the new supplier should explain what will happen with your account and what your new tariff will be, and then you can decide if you're going to stay with them. I'd still recommend contacting your new supplier if you don't actually hear from them within 2 weeks, just to get things moving. If you are unsure who your new supplier will be, you can actually contact Ofgem or check on their website. The Citizens Advice website also has details on who new suppliers will be or who they'll be taking over from as well. So whilst you are waiting to hear from your new supplier, I definitely recommend taking meter readings. Obviously, it's useful to take a photo of your meter readers too if you need to evidence that further down the line. Keeping any old bills that you have. These can help prove that you have payment history, your credit balance, and if you had any debt as well. And also to make a note of your account balance. So you'll find this on your most recent statement, and to make sure that you're happy with that as well. Again, if you pay by direct debit, don't cancel it straight away. Wait until your new account is set with your new supplier. Once you do hear from your new supplier, that's the time to check the new tariff. Again, there's not that many fantastic deals like there was last year, but it is still worth shopping around. So perhaps have a look on the MSE or Martin Lewis website, perhaps joining the Energy Club there. The Citizens Advice Consumer Service will be able to help check deals as well. So if a person's vulnerable and they need help with this, perhaps a family member will be able to help with that. So your new tariff may well be more expensive than the old one, unfortunately. There are a lot fewer good deals out there than obviously there were this time last year due to the rise in the prices. However, some tariffs are a lot more expensive than others, so it's definitely worth still shopping around where you can. You should contact your new supplier to make sure you're on the best tariffs for you with them as well. You do have a right to switch if you're not happy with the new supplier or tariff, and you'll also have the right to do this without paying an exit fee as well. Thanks.
That's brilliant information, and Adam, I really appreciate that, and I'm sure our viewers do as well. I think one of the main things that a lot of people are worried about is what about if they've got huge credit or debit balances on their existing accounts with the energy supply that's gone bust. What will happen to those credits and debits, Adam?
It's a really good question, a good point, and the answer is yes. If you were paying a debt to your old supplier, you will still have to pay this back. Again, I'd recommend waiting for your new supplier to contact you. If they're taking on your debts, they should let you know. If the new supplier isn't taking on your debts, you more than likely have to pay an administrator instead. This is kind of an organisation that's taking over the company that does go bust, and obviously they're going to be taking the debts on as well, which will need to be paid. Your new supplier will usually contact you to arrange a payment plan. If you're struggling to make sure you let them know, obviously they may be able to, help you find another way to pay. It may be worth contacting a debt advisor if you are struggling to agree on a repayment plan, or you are struggling with other debts as well. If you're having to pay an administrator, the administrator will be collecting the energy debts for your old supplier. You might get a bill from the administrator instead of your old supplier, so maybe a different logo, for example. Importantly, if you were using a prepayment meter to pay off your debt, you might not be able to use the meter to pay the administrator. So they should tell you how to pay, and you might be asked to pay all of your debt back at once. Now, this is because administrators, unfortunately, do not have to follow the same payment rules as energy companies. However, you still have the right to negotiate a payment plan with an administrator, and they should consider this even if they don't agree to it. So it's worth speaking to your new supplier if your debt means you are struggling to pay your bills. And again, it's worth getting support if you feel the administrator is not taking on board your current financial situation from the consumer service or a debt advisor as well. Now, really importantly, the good news is if your account was in credit with the energy supplier that went bust, then your money is protected. So that's unless you were a small business customer. Your new supplier will tell you how you'll be paid back and when. And again, just to remember to check all your bills and take meter readings to make sure that amount is correct. If you're a small business customer, Ofgem will try to choose a supplier that can refund some of all of the credit, but unfortunately it's not guaranteed. So again, I would recommend waiting for your new supplier to contact you. They'll tell you what will happen to your credit. If your new supplier says that they can't refund your credit, I'd contact your old supplier's administrator, so the administrator will be able to take control of your old supplier and kind of handle their debts as well. So you should be able to find the details on your old supplier's website. Again, Ofgem will be able to help with that as well. You should contact the administrator to register as a creditor. So this is someone who is owed money. You'll need to prove your account with the old supplier was in credit, which you can do this with past bills or statements as evidence. If you have an online account, it's also a really good idea to log in and check your balance and download any bills or statements, and the administrator may be able to repay some of your credit or all, depending on the circumstances there. So this could take a long time, sometimes more than a year, unfortunately, but the amount that you may get will depend on how much the old supplier owes to all its creditors.
That's brilliant. Thanks, Adam. There's obviously a lot of key information in there of what you said, which is going to be key for consumers. So that's been brilliant, Adam. Really good to see you and talk to you today about, should we say, the recent energy crisis, which is ongoing. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon for our next Benefit Bite-Size briefing. Thank you.